Hey, what's going on, guys? JS Cards here, coming at you with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. I have a cold, so I apologize for the way that I might sound in this video. There's probably going to be a lot of cuts between coughing, but I'm really excited to go over this Beetrooper Battle Wasp Insect Link deck. I don't know what to call this, but this deck is really fun. It reminds me a lot of Dragon Link, and I thought I'd talk about it. So this is basically version 1.0. I definitely plan on trying to make this deck as best as possible. There are just so many extenders with this deck. This is actually a 44 card deck. The reason being, get it? I'm sorry, that was terrible. You can hit the dislike button twice if you want. But the reason being is because there are just so many extenders with this deck that allows you to kind of up the count, play more hand traps, play floodgates and things like that, because very rarely do you have a hand that you can't do anything with. I mean, I've done a bunch of test hands. I took this to locals. I've been playing this build on EDO Pro, and there's always something you can do with your hand, and you can end on some pretty crazy insect monsters and link monsters with just a few cards. So I want to talk about this, go through it with you guys, and hopefully you enjoy it. Yeah, so let's jump into this. So starting off with our Beetroopers, we have 3 copies of Scout Buggy. Very, very important card here. This card's a level 3. You cannot special summon monsters except insect monsters. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon another Scout Buggy from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So yeah, this just allows you to get insects out onto the field. You can overlay these even if you want to, or if anything, you'll just use them as link materials to go into one of your insect links and kind of go from there. After that, I play 3 copies of Scale Bomber. This card can be special summoned from your hand when an insect monster is normal or special summoned. And then we play 2 copies of the Sting Lancer. You can target 1 insect monster in your graveyard and 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand, and then the monsters that you selected will go back to the bottom of the deck. For the Battle Wasps, I play 3 copies of Sting the Poison. This can search out a Battle Wasp monster when it's normal or special summoned. Then I play 3 copies of Twin Bow the Attacker. You can special summon this card from your hand. It locks you into special summoning only insect monsters from your extra deck, but there's a few cards that do that anyways, so that doesn't really stop us. And then I play 2 copies of Pin the Bullseye, probably the cutest card in the deck too. But if you control an insect monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. As you can see, these all just special summon out when you have an insect or something like that. And then I have the 1 Battle Wasp Arbalist, the Rapid Fire. If this card's normal summoned, you can target 1 level 3 or lower insect monster from your graveyard and special summon it. So again, just more special summoning, more materials to get out onto the field. After that, I play 3 copies of Resonance Insect. Very important card for the deck. The main combo just focuses on reusing all of these different copies of Resonance Insect. It's not once per turn, which is really crazy. So if this card's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 5 or higher insect monster from your deck to your hand. And then if this is banished from your graveyard, you can send 1 insect monster from your deck to the graveyard. So this goes quite well with the next card. 2 copies of Goki Pull. I was originally playing just 1 copy, but it is nice to have a second one available. And then this is a brand new edition. I wasn't playing anything, but I am playing the 1 normal monster, that being Shiny Black Sea Squatter. With Goki Pull, if he's sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand. And if it's a normal monster, you can special summon it. So this is a level 4 normal insect monster, 2000 attack, which is pretty good, but basically you're just going to use this to link into something bigger, but still a really good card. Your other option with Goki Pull is to just get another Resonance Insect if you need it. And then the other card that goes with all of these is the Doom Dozer. And I also have the insect kaiju, one of them in here, Kumungus. We can even play some of the insect hand traps such as Contact C and Retaliating C. I don't ever think Max C should come back, but before the ban list was announced, I was kind of excited if it did come back because I would totally play it in this deck. But it's probably best that it stays banned forever. But after just building this insect deck, I was like, oh man, maybe it would be fun to do some shenanigans with Max C. But then I was like, maybe not. Anyways, for the rest of the hand traps, we have the triple Ash and triple Effect Veiler. You could take these out and play Impermanence instead if you want to go for like a pretty heavy trap build. But I like Effect Veiler instead. That's just me. You can really play whatever hand traps you want. But that's it for the monsters. It's a huge monster count. I want to say there's like 32 or 33 monsters. But again, they all kind of special summon themselves out if you have an insect, or they allow you to special summon out an insect, that type of thing. There's just constant plays with this deck, which is what I really like. I have played Dragon Link for a long time, and this reminds me a lot of Dragon Link. I don't think it's better, but it's still really fun, and their Link monsters, which we'll get into soon, are insane. Alright, so moving on to the spells, we have 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Back row can definitely hurt this deck, and I want to be able to stop any sort of annoying cards that my opponent sets down. And then we have the 1 Beetrooper Formation, the field spell. I think only 1 is necessary. And then Called by the Grave, so we can stop a hand trap, and Monster Reborn. Just another way to extend or get back one of your bigger insects that might be in the graveyard, or even steal one of your opponent's monsters that's in their grave. And then moving on to the trap cards, we have the 1 Beetrooper Fly-In Sting. This card's insane. So when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Beetrooper monster, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. And then during the end phase, if this card's in your graveyard and you control an insect monster with 3,000 or more attack, you can banish 1 insect monster from your graveyard and then set this card. And your Link monster, the Beetrooper Link monster, has 3,000 attack. So this card's really great to have out if you have that card on the field. I also play the 1 Imperial Order. We barely play any spells, so this is really nice to play against spell-heavy decks. And then for Floodgates, I play triple copies of Rivalry of Warlords. Yep, every single card basically is an insect monster. You hardly ever go into the extra deck monsters that aren't insects anyways. It does come up, but like you can just kind of use those cards and get them out of the way, and then when you have all insects on the field, just flip this up, and yeah, your opponent's gonna have a pretty hard time against this. Obviously, this kind of varies on the matchup, but for the most part, most decks are playing a variety of different types of monsters. But if you are going up against a deck that's all 1 type anyways, you can just side these out for something a little better. Alright, so now moving on to the extra deck. This isn't final. There are definitely a few things I want to change, and I'll talk about it, but this is a fairly budget version as well, and I'll talk about some of the changes and what you guys can do. But basically, if you build anything similar to this, you'll be fine. I do play the 1 Almirage because it is nice sometimes to just normal summon out your Resonance Insect and then just link it away into an Almirage and then start using its effects. And then for our main Link monsters here, we have 3 copies of Beetrooper Armor Horn. Definitely need to play 3 copies because you'll be going through these quite often. But this card lets you normal summon 1 insect monster, so even if you've already normal summoned once, you can do it again. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 3 other insects from your graveyard and special summon it back onto the field. Next up, I play 3 copies of Insector Picophalenia. Not sure how to say the name, but I bumped this up from 2 to 3. You'll actually use 2 quite a bit. I added in the 3rd one in case there's some sort of like grind game or you know, the game ends up going a little bit longer. But this card's really interesting and works quite nice in this deck. So if this card's link summoned, you can discard one card, target one other insect monster you control, equip one insect monster from your deck to it as an equip spell, and then it gets the effect that it gains 500 attack. So this works nice because you can equip your Resonance Insect onto your Battle Horn usually. And then you'll use this and the Battle Horn to go into your bigger Link monster. And then because Resonance is equipped to your Battle Horn and it goes to the grave, its effect goes off and then you just go from there. But this card also has a really nice second effect. You can target 3 insect monsters in your graveyard and then shuffle them back into the deck and then draw one card. So this lets you reuse your Resonance Insect, your Goki Pole, and then usually you want to get your Doomdozer back into the deck. So this card offers recyclability and you can get your insects back and start using them again. So that's why I bumped it up to 3 because it's really good, and especially if the games end up going longer, it's nice to be able to get some of those insects back and hopefully reuse them. I also have the One Nightmare Phoenix and Unicorn. Honestly, I hardly bring these out, but they are nice options to have. You a lot of the times are locked into only insects, but sometimes this can come up. I also have the one Seraphim Papillon, just a pretty powerful Link 3 insect monster. After that, I have the Borolo Dragon, just regular Borolo Dragon. You can play Boral Sword or Access Code if you have either one. My Boral Sword is in another deck, and you know, if I were to take this to a more competitive event, then I would swap them out. But just for this profile, I thought I'd just throw in a Borolo, which is still really good. I mean, this card is, I think, a little underrated, and some of your opponents don't really expect it anymore, but still powerful. But again, you are a lot of the times locked into insects anyways, but this is a nice option. Any sort of Link 4 boss monster that you want to put in this slot, you can. But the main one that we usually go for is Invincible Atlas, your Link 4 insect monster, 3000 attack. It's unaffected by like anything as long as it has 3000 attack. But you contribute an insect monster to activate one of the following effects. You can either special summon one Beetrooper monster from your deck, or this card gains 2000 attack until the end of this turn. If it gains the 2000 attack, then it is affected by other card effects and monsters though, so it loses that protection. But sometimes that can push for game. I mean, having a 5000 attack monster out onto the field is insane. Otherwise though, most of the time I'm using its first effect to special summon another Beetrooper. And then just generating more advantage from there, going into another Link monster, or, you know, who knows what else. But very cool card, and this is what makes the deck really good. And then I play 2 copies of number 3. You can make it with your 2 scout buggies overlaid. And then another possible card that you could include in here, which I plan on doing so in the near future, is playing Zeus. Zeus was also just reprinted in the Megatins, so if you don't have a copy yet, it should be a lot easier to obtain now. But you don't even really have to play Zeus because you are, a lot of the times, like I said, locked into insects only. So Zeus, if you don't have it or you don't want to play it, you don't have to. But Zeus is a really cool option, so if that's something you want to play, definitely go for it. The side deck is nowhere final either, but I'll show you what I have. This obviously just kind of depends on your local meta as well, so feel free to change it up. But I play 3 copies of Ghost Bell, 2 copies of Droll and Lock. We also have some more kaijus here, being another of the spider, and then Godarla's a really nice wind insect monster you can include in here. After that, I play 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More, in case we need to get over some annoying monsters with some effects that we need to negate. After that, for traps, 2 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance, and 3 copies of Evenly Matched. This card can be really good because sometimes you might only have like 1 or 2 monsters out onto the field. Sure, they might be powerful link monsters, but if your opponent ends up clearing them, or if they go full combo and they have a huge board, this can be nice to activate. One honorable mention card that I wanted to talk about real quick is this little guy. Aztekipede the Worm Warrior. This is kind of like a mini version of Doomdozer. It's a level 4 1900 attack monster, which is pretty cool. This card can be special summoned by banishing an insect monster from your graveyard, and when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, send the top card of their deck to the graveyard. So basically mini Doomdozer. I might honestly just add this into this deck and this would make it a 45 card deck, which is pretty crazy for me. I usually like to stick around the 40 to 41 card count, but again, you just have so many extenders. This deck is all extenders and then hand traps. So you could easily just, you know, up the count of the deck and play whatever you want and kind of just go from there. I might just add it in, but who knows. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more. This is version 1.0 of Beetrooper Battle Wasp Insect Link, and I'll be trying to do some updates once I test this out some more in the future. But hit that like button and subscribe for more if you want to see more opening videos, deck profiles, and Yu-Gi-Oh! News related videos as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out and have a good one.